Welcome along to Obviously Fight Talk episode 116. We are in Studio 3
I feel lost.
Rob is none too plussed with the removal and changing of rooms.
I am not too plussed.
No. We will tender you a good show today. Obviously Fight Talk episode 116 is proudly brought to you by MMAmix.com, feelsupreme.co.uk and Fight Store Ireland. If you're watching this today, this isn't the only show. This is recorded and goes out on a Tuesday, but Rob does a live chat, and this week you're going to be doing it on Thursday, Robert.
You pay attention. Were you reading my tweets?
I listened to you. No, you told me not walking to work this morning.
Oh, sure. Right.
So let's get subbing and sharing. If you like what you see, which I know a lot of the guys, you all comment down below, and we are truly grateful for everybody getting involved, and especially on the live chats, talking with Rob and stuff like that as well. It's great to have everyone involved, but share it, get it out there. We're only a little... I'll use correct terminology. We're a little being. We're only at the start of a show here, and we're trying to build. As long as we're doing it 2.5 years at this stage. But
we're like a little bacteria.
Yeah, we're gonna grow.
We need to evolve.
Yeah. So it's only with the help of you guys that will get the show bigger, because we don't have a big platform behind us. We don't have a big website or anyone pushing us in that sense. It's just me and Rob, Brendan and Dan, just on social media, just pushing the show. That's all it is. So any help is greatly appreciated. What are we talking about this week? We will have your quick-fire news, as always, to start the show. We will be looking back at UFC Fight Night 134. A lot of people were unplussed by this, Rob. People weren't big fans of this card. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll look ahead and be joined by Brendan Dorman to talk UFC on Fox 30. That is the Alvarez and Poirier rematch. Really looking forward to that one. Nick Newell is fighting this week on UFC Contender as well.
Yeah.
The UFC are really pushing that as well with Newell on the show. So that goes down on Wednesday, is it?
What?
The Contender.
The Tuesday night Contender.
Is it called Tuesday night Contender, is it? So what night does that go out on?
The day after Monday.
Not too plus, would you laughing at me?
Tonight.
Tonight,
You'll be watching this on Tuesday.
Tonight. Can't wait
this will be
to
released
watch
on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's right. And this week in MMA history, sorry last week, but we'll talk about it. This is where the UFC returned to Dublin and was headlined by Conor McGregor and Diego Brandao. So we're going to talk about it. It was a great night for Irish MMA. It was the famous quote of, we're not here to take part, we're here to take over. And as Rob pointed out also, I'm dying for a cup of tea, Paddy Houlihan. But let's start with your quick fire news. This is where we have 2 minutes on the clock. And we discuss the subject for that 2 minutes. When the buzzer goes, the buzzer goes. And if you've been listening the last 3 weeks, folks, it's still here. The bell is still here.
Will I read out the first one so you can get the bell ready, or do you have the bell ready?
I have the bell ready.
Oh, go ahead, be my guest.
Max Holloway's manager, Brian Butler, confirmed on Sunday that there's no truth to the rumours that Max Holloway suffered some form of stroke. Holloway was forced to withdraw from UFC 226 due to CTE-like symptoms, and rumours spread after that he may have had a mini-stroke. Other rumours were that it came from being knocked out in training and concussion didn't clear. We're underway.
Well, I'm glad to hear that it wasn't a mini stroke, at least according to his manager, because that would be insane. That would, like, a man of his age, if something like that happened, that's probably the end of his career, most likely, a mini stroke. So I'm glad that they were just rumours, and generally, like, rumours that come out like that, they usually are rumours. So I didn't really expect it to be that, but still, we don't know what it is. We don't know what actually the issue was, and I think that's the big thing now. Hopefully they can get to the end of what it was. And I know that he said that Max will be ready to speak, or he'll be healthy enough to speak soon. I don't know if that was like, as in he's just not ready to speak mentally, or physically he's still suffering from some kind of condition here, but hopefully he's okay, and hopefully he does fight again. But it's just scary stuff. But I'm glad it wasn't a stroke.
It is. You see, I suppose they're testing to find out what it is. But this, like, again, you're saying young, and sort of change the subject here, but there's a fighter out of Full Power, Aaron Riley. I'm not too sure what Aaron's age is. He's only young, like mid-20s, thereabouts. And Aaron had a mini stroke and has been ruled out of fighting. So it's something that these symptoms can happen. So I wish Aaron the best of health and speedy recovery, my man. And hopefully he'll still have to be involved some way. So he's a lot of to offer outside the cage. But with Max Holloway here, it was scary. There's a lot of talk of water loading and stuff like that he could have got water poisoning and stuff like that.
Yeah, there was loads of different theories.
I know a lot of people are firing guns, as they tend to, with Brendan Schaub when he says stuff, but it was Brendan Schaub was one of the people who mentioned that potentially stroke. Now he's hearing that from somewhere as well, so there was a few outlets that mentioned it. I seen it during the week, and I think I said it to you. I said I seen it on a website, but it wouldn't be a website that I'd hold to be really credible.
Sure.
So I thought, let's have a look, see the big websites report it. No one really reported it, but again, we're repeating ourselves here. Obviously, we wish Max Holloway a full recovery, and you know, health is your wealth. So you know, hopefully better news. Great stuff.
Unbelievable. The UFC's welterweight division was in the spotlight late last week, and the only answer we got was that there was no answers to what the direction the UFC are going with it. Darren Till tweeted that he was offered a title fight against Tyron Woodley because Colby Covington was reportedly out of the fight. And then a lot of other stuff happened. He had an interview with Paddy Power. He said that Woodley needs to just take a fight, say who he wants. Yeah. And he also touched on the whole idea of him saying that he wasn't worthy of a title fight after missing weight last time. He kind of went into that saying, well, if the UFC offer it to me, I'll take it.
I read the Paddy Power article as well, and then I was listening to an off the ball interview with Niall McGrath as well, and it's hilarious. MMA fans, man, we're such bitches. Just nearly every comment under the video on the off the ball is, yeah, prove you can make weight first, bro. All this type of talk, you know. But like, yeah, Till sort of said, look, you're the champion, you pick who you want to fight, and that, you know, he's waiting on whatever. But like, if Colby's out, I you know, legitimately, who's the next challenger? Usman, maybe we beat RDA.
I do think it's a problem that he didn't make weight last time.
Of course,
I do still think that's a problem. I think.
You think it's too big of a punishment to not allow him to have, considering
I think he should have one more,
Wonderboy Thompson fought Woodley twice until beat Wonderboy. Does that not give him the opportunity? No, he should be punished. I
think the wins. I wouldn't disagree with him getting a title fight based on the wins, and based if Colby's out, then I wouldn't really disagree. But I think the way he missed weight last time, it was off, and he did have a couple of things that went on that were reported. So he did have some kind of excuses, even though he wasn't giving himself excuses. But I just feel that if you don't make weight in your last fight, I think it's very difficult for me, if I was the promoter, to say, yeah, I'm going to put a title fight on with you in the picture. I just think it's a little bit of a dangerous move for the UFC to do that. I don't think he will miss weight. I do think he would make it, but still, you know, almost on principle as well. One of them.
It's with Till, I think circumstances, whatever happened in Liverpool happened, but I don't think it'd be a problem with him making weight.
Do you think that the promotion now, based on them videos, are looking at that and saying, offering him a title fight at 170 pounds?
But come here, I hate to be bad. There's been videos of Cyborg doing that. Misha Tate doing that. There's been.
Do you think that'll just go away now?
I think it should go away.
Do you think it will though? I think still people will talk about it because it was so bad. I
love this bell. Next up, Cage Warriors 95 went down last Saturday night and saw Stefan Patrino take the 170-pound title with a first-round finish over Meridat Janzamini in the headliner at Indigo at the O2 in London. In Irish interest, SBG Sarge James. I've clicked off. Would you believe I've clicked off when I went down? James Webb. No, not Webb, but I couldn't see the rest of it. James Webb defeated Paolo Attillo via submission rear naked choke in round 2. Did you watch Cage Warriors? And what did you think?
I've seen some of the fights, didn't watch the whole card, but very, very good finish by James Webb. SBG Swords seems to be the gym right now in Ireland that are producing the most promising fighters, I think. From
Chris
at least
Fields
what I've seen.
and Tom King are going to have to start pushing this show as much as we push SBG
I know, yeah.
It's a simple fact.
We get nothing from it.
Webb, though, again, talking to Chris before, and he was saying about having James over and, you know, the potential this guy has and to watch him. Yeah. And that's 2 performances now I've seen of James Webb.
Really good.
As you said, like the setup, the shot he landed to rock Adatello, and then the way he transitioned to the back, took the neck, sunk it in, and tight squeeze done. That's what I actually shared it on the OFT page. I actually shared something, Rob.
TV's about to go off.
I shared something on the on air page, which was a shocker because Rob will always give out to me for that. But it was a great performance by Webb, and he certainly is one to look out for.
Yeah, 100%. I love the transition, the rear naked choke, and it was one of them ones where he could have easily just continued to strike and maybe he wouldn't have got the finish, but it was really, like, clinical is the word I'd use for that. Really clinical. The rest of the card was pretty good. Paterno, good performance as well. Didn't watch the whole card, but
Konrad Iwanski as well. He was out of Phantom, and he trains in SBG. That's what Chris was actually cornering him. Was in a really close fight. It was one of them fights where we'd always go, like, he lost by split, and it could have easily went the other way. He could have won by split. Conrad's response was, look, it was a great fight. You know, so you win some, you lose some. This day wasn't mine. You know,
Ace of Spades.
The next time, you know.
Yeah.
But Cage Warriors. What do you think of the Cage Warriors? Are, you know, they went away for a while. They're back.
Put on some really good shows, and I love the way it's on Fight Pass. Like, I wasn't worried about not seeing it live, because I know I can go back and now watch it on Fight Pass. It's brilliant.
Uni lad,
exactly,
lad Bible. And
will it work? Will the stream crash, or do I have to wait and watch it live because I won't see it any other time? I like it, and doing good work.
The greatest bell in the world.
Disclaimer for the rest of these ones: Noel wrote them down, so usually when Noel writes them and I read them, I make a fucking mess of it.
Yeah.
Donald Cerrone versus Mike Perry is targeted for UFC Denver on November 10th in Colorado. MMA fighting confirmed with sources. ESPN was the first to report the news via UFC President Dana White. Cerrone and Perry have been teammates at Jackson Wink since earlier this year, but
Jackson
evidently don't mind throwing down.
I put MMA
This says MMAfighting.com at the end.
Because I didn't read the full thing, so I was giving credit to MMA Fighting. What do you think of this? This is obviously a fan favourite fight, but considering Donald Cowboy Cerrone has been fighting out of Jack's Winks for so long.
But hasn't Cerrone been doing almost his own camps in his own little ranch?
He's been in the ranch.
Yeah, which apparently he doesn't really have any like, he does have coaches there, but like, it's more so he's just running it. He's training with the lads. It seems like a real old school setting. Not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
But this is my point, is that if you look at Mike Perry, right? I thought Mike Perry's last fight, he showed a lot of improvements with technical wise. Like, he's got a lot of power, but he was shown good fundamentals, he's shown good footwork. These are things that Brendan Dorman openly said, Jesus Christ, this guy has knockout power. I'd love to work with him and work on his fundamentals. He really showcased that. So, like, this is probably a great fight in a sense for Mike Perry against Cowboy. Like, Cowboy's had a bad run of late. He was even quoted saying he likes helping the up and coming guys get their names out there by fighting Cowboy, stuff like that. But you know, the fact that Jackson Wink would have so much information on Cowboy Cerrone, you know what I mean? It's like,
that's a very good point.
It's like they're handing Mike Perry here. By the way, here's a cheat sheet.
See, I was talking about it in terms of, like, are they friends or have they trained with each other? But yeah, that's a good point. Jackson and Michael Winkeljohn have huge data on Donald Cerrone. Not that really his style is a surprise. I don't think anyone's going to fight Donald Cerrone saying, like, it's not like Machida of old where you're like, oh, what's he going to do? We don't really know what his game plan's going to be.
Or something like that.
The technical wonder that was Tank Abbott. But yeah, they have a lot of data on him, and it's a good move for Mike Perry, isn't it? It's a good fight for him as well. Could make a name off Cerrone, just like Darren Till did.
But that's what I mean. It all of a sudden put Perry. Perry was in a bad position a couple of fights ago. A win over Cowboy Cerrone, 2-fight win streak. All of a sudden, the corner has turned, and he is a prospect. Could just be a
great fight too.
Once again.
Yes.
Like the way I was rapping there, did you? Great stuff. Brian Ortega and Dana White have reached agreement after UFC 226. He's got compensation. UFC featherweight contender Brian Ortega confirms that he has received compensation for his cancelled UFC bout against Max Holloway. Ortega was on Below the Belt last week. Don't know if you watched it. It's excellent, with Brendan Schaub. And he mentioned
Schaub was never my friend.
And he mentioned that he never got paid after a meeting with an angry Dana White. Basically, at the time they had a meeting, it couldn't have happened at a worse time. Daniel Cormier had just fallen on stage.
Oh yeah.
And Ortega was going in going, yo,
where's my money?
Any chance of a few quid to pay my training partners? So I'll actually press time now. But what was happening,
good idea.
Schaub, as he was talking to him now, I'm not saying Brendan Schaub had an agenda, but as he was talking, this was in the heat of the whole Brendan Schaub Dana White thing, and he was sort of saying,
what happened again?
I'm not sure, but Eskimo Brothers, but they were basically chatting away, and he said, oh, you know, I'm looking for some sort of compensation. I'm here, I've trained, I'm ready to go, like. And he's like, oh, you know, Brendan, so he didn't, you know. And he said, no, he said, I should have went in on my own. I felt maybe that I went in with training partners. I intimidated him a little bit. And Schaub was like, 100% never do that by yourself, or you'll end up coming out of the room going, yeah, I'm fighting Cyborg. I got to make 145. But Like, yeah, and I felt it got to the stage where Ortega was going to say, and then after he said, I'm not compensating, and Brendan started talking to him and they moved on to something else. So it's good to see that common sense prevailed here and that Ortega was compensated, even if it was just to pay his training fees. Because, like, the camps aren't cheap, especially when you're fighting to that level. You'd imagine he's bringing in big guys.
It's a weird conversation, though, isn't it? Just based on what their job is. Like, if they don't fight, the UFC don't really get much from them. Yeah. So, like, the UFC definitely have a kind of a... They need something too. Like, they're not just a nameless, faceless thing, and they need to make money too. So if they don't fight, they don't get anything from it. But then they have to have some kind of conscience in a way to see that these guys are...
Well, Ortega was saying as well, leading up to fight week, because he speaks Spanish, he was doing double the interviews. He was doing all this.
Should they at least... I know, like, a lot of people say that the fighter should get this in their contract, as in they are guaranteed some kind of show money. But should the UFC at least, even for the lower level guys, do some kind of, like, you get this amount of money, like, say, a quarter of your purse based on promotion and the kind of lead up, and then obviously make them wait, you get a certain amount, something like that. I don't know.
I think there should be something. The time's going to go, and I'm going to allow it go, because I'm making an incredibly valid point.
Okay.
I think there should be something in a contract for a fighter that, depending on your level, and the more you go up a level as well, there will be more, that there is almost like expenses.
Yeah.
Training expenses. So if you can prove, you know what I mean? Yeah, look.
Show your receipts?
Like, not even show your receipts, but look, I need training camp, so I need to pay my coaches. And let's say it's like they give you, I don't know, like $5,000, let's say, right? And $5,000 is towards your training camp, and that's like, I know, I hear you. Because if you look at it, right, John Kavanagh tweeted not too long ago that the UFC made him get a taxi from the airport. And
he wasn't too plussed with that.
He wasn't too plussed, but you have to pay with a crisp $20 bill. He tendered it to the taxi driver, but
oh my god,
out of his skinny jeans. No, but my point being that you're dragging out here is that, you know, fighters should have some sort of compensation if they have turned up to a fight and they've done a full camp. They shouldn't be out of pocket because you couldn't provide a fighter. Now, this is one thing that Dana White apparently said to Ortega. Well, we have found a fighter. We found you Edgar or Stevens. If you're not taking it, that's your fault. We have found you a fight.
Yeah, it's a weird conversation. It's more of a longer discussion that we can have in the future.
I think it should have like a mini amount, like almost like an upfront payment.
That's what I mean. Like, should a UFC contract be structured differently? Like, should they have a certain payment up to a certain point?
Like, if you're, let's say, 10-10, 10 appearance, 10 win, you get like 20%, 10% of that for up front. Now, if you pull out of the fight, if it's you that pulls out for, it has to be a valid reason, like an injury. There's
definitely problems with it, as in, you know, people could fake injuries, and, you know, there's definitely problems there. But like, it's a longer discussion that you have to have.
You're not going to last that long if you're constantly pulling out of fights and they're paying you like a fee. UFC Fight Night 134, Shogun Smith went down. It was in Hamburg, it was in Germany, so we get to watch some fights at tea time, Rob.
Don't really like it.
Yeah, it's weird being alert.
I'm gonna be like that asshole who's like, oh, fights aren't on at the regular time, and then when they are, I'm like, I don't like it.
Well, I was out swimming in the beautiful Irish Sea, and I was like, have to go because gotta get home to watch the UFC.
No, I do like it. I wish it was a little bit later though. A little bit later.
Perfect time, 8 o'clock prelims, main card 10.
No, a bit earlier than that now.
No, perfect.
9 o'clock main card.
Drinking hour. You don't feel guilty opening a drink.
What time was the main card on it?
I don't know. It was over by 10 o'clock. Shogun was not.
That is good, yeah. That is good.
Just in time.
I don't know.
For the Manchester United kick-off in the friendly against...
I can never be happy.
I'm
not going to complain.
San Jose Earthquakes.
Yeah. What do you think of the fights?
I was too plus. Sorry, folks, if you don't know what this joke is, that we're just repeating.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
It's out there. You just have
it's out there. Just Google non-2 plus, and I'm sure
I don't think you'll get it with that.
We'll have to check that out. Your main event seen Anthony Smith taking on Mauricio Shogun, who me and Rob went with Shogun, who on last week's show.
Yeah.
He's a legend. I was never going to pick against Shogun. He's my favourite fighter of all time. And I said the break could be really, really good for him. being off for so long, or it could be really bad for him. I don't think it was either or either.
No.
I just think Mauricio Shogun, who isn't the Mauricio Shogun who we knew previously, I felt watching the fight, Rob, that Anthony Smith allowed Shogun to come onto him just to have a look at what Shogun was doing. Threw a few little shots to see how Shogun reacted. When he picked up on that, he just went for it and landed some good shots that rocked Shogun backwards up against the cage. In with the cage, he stepped in with a fucking filthy right elbow.
Yeah, it was vicious, wasn't it?
And Shogun was knocked out while still standing.
Yeah, I think this was the best performance of the card and kind of the standout. I don't think we're going to go into the card too much because let's be honest, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. But that elbow that he landed,
fucking awful actually.
Yeah, it wasn't the best card in the world now. But that elbow that he landed simultaneously cut Shogun open and knocked him out at the same time. It was absolutely vicious, and that's something that we talked about going into it. Anthony Smith's elbows are vicious, vicious. And I love the way he spoke about it after the fight, saying how he has really long reach, even for that weight class. Like, Smith looked really big for the weight class,
and he's coming up as well.
Yeah, and I just thought, like, I know Shogun and Rashad aren't the biggest light heavyweights, but I just thought, Rashad Evans, he probably could fight out 185 if he wanted. Even with Shogun, probably could make 185, but still, that's 2 fights in a row where he looked like the much bigger guy. So I don't really think size is going to be a problem, but that elbow, and the way he said that he has a really long reach for the weight class, so he really likes to see his elbows get on the inside, and they've been really effective. And I think his speed as well at that weight is really impressive. I think it's going to give a lot of people problems. And
speed
he's
and
right
power,
up there now.
He's
right up there now.
He called out Gustafsson,
and
which seconds later Gustafsson released that he was injured and was out of UFC.
But if they do fight, realistically, that could be a title fight, depending on how DC's title goes. I was watching the Chael Sonnen video.
Would you not like to see Smith? And this is no disrespect to Shogun or to Rashad Evans, but would you not like to see him fight in their prime guy?
Sure. I think Smith versus Corey Anderson's an interesting one. Corey Anderson had a good performance. We can talk a little bit about that. But I just mean that I think if they do fight, I think it's probably the most likely one for a title fight. As in, I was watching a Chael Sonnen video. He was talking about how people shouldn't be calling out DC because he doesn't feel like DC will fight at that weight. Yeah. And the best thing to do is
big enough
call
names.
out Gus. Yeah. Because most likely, if DC vacates the title, it'll be Gus getting a title fight, and he'll be trying to basically a vacant title.
What about a fight against Jimmy Manuwa?
I like it. Any of those ones is good, but I think I do like the Gustafsson fight, even though we know it's not happening. But great performance. Shogun should be done.
Yeah, that was my next question. Is that the end? And it's weird saying it because that was his best winning streak since Pride days, I believe.
But it's not the best he's looked since Pride.
Isn't it sad, isn't it, that our legends, this is how they go down, isn't it? Like,
it happens.
I don't know if you didn't watch the episode where Dublin artist Barry Keegan was on, who wrote drew the comic Shadow Realm. It's so true.
It's a great metaphor for
it's where your legends go to die, you know. And it's you look at it like Shogun, for me, like the fights he had and the legends he's beat. Like, they were talking about it briefly on Sunday. The guys he's beaten, you're going, Jesus Christ, like, and you're looking and going, man, he was an absolute legend. And then this is how it ends, you know. And this is the problem, is that I seen somebody tweet, can't remember exactly who it was, that said, you know, this shouldn't be the way we treat our legends, you know. Your legends come in and gets knocked out by.
What's that mean, though?
But yeah, this is my point, is that Shogun was on a 3-fight win streak. He has to fight somebody in the top 10. He just has to.
And to be fair, like, his initial opponent was, I got it wrong last time, but it was Ozdemir. Ozdemir seems like a much worse opponent than Smith. Smith seemed like I'm not taking anything away from Smith. It was an amazing performance, and I think that he could probably be a force at 205 now. But Smith didn't seem like the guy, like, oh my God, he's a world beater, young guy coming up. Smith's been around for a long time. You know, he's not that really young guy prospect that they're feeding him the show. It was,
you know what Smith reminds me a little of? The rejuvenation of Robbie Lawler. Remember Robbie Lawler was forgotten about and then came back and went in the title.
A little bit, it
reminds you a bit like that. It's almost
he seems like he's reinvigorated or something.
I've watched Smith fight on so many occasions, and it's just like, yeah. And now you're saying, holy fuck, this guy, you know.
To be fair, it is against two legends who have seen their best days a long time ago. But he's on a good run now, and I'm very interested to see where they go with him. I really am.
Co-main event was Corey Anderson. You were very impressed with his performance against Glover.
I think it was the best we've seen, Corey Anderson. I think that It's the first time I've really seen him fight like a mixed martial artist, I'd say. He really transitioned his wrestling into a strike, and Glover couldn't really do a whole lot. Glover couldn't get anything going.
That uppercut was there for days.
And like, that's smart. He looked at what Alexander Gustafsson was doing and brought it into his game. I was really impressed. I don't know where he goes from here. I had a little kind of back and forth with somebody who said that they still don't think he's going to be top 5
like
in
an
the
argument,
division.
Robert? Were you having an argument?
Not an argument. I was having a very nice discussion. But he wasn't too plussed about Mike now. But I agree. I don't think he's going to be a contender in the division, but I think he could be
a gatekeeper.
Yeah. And he could get some good fights.
Well, you're talking about Smith potentially against Anderson. You'd like to see that. What about Tecia? Were you a bit surprised with that? He tweeted after, I can't continue fighting like this.
Yeah, that was probably the most surprised result on the card.
I genuinely thought he was going to walk through.
Same. I thought it was not a layup, but I thought it was not an easy fight either. I just thought it was a well-matched fight for him. I didn't think Corey Anderson could have done what he did.
I always had Glover down as the guy that is just outside John Jones' good
the bridesmaid.
Yeah, I just maybe the maid of honor or something, maybe the flower girl, you know what I mean? But and geez, man, like he got, and again, Glover's getting on. Like Glover's, what age is Glover? He's up there.
He's up there, yeah.
So yeah, it's been. He's saying I can't continue fighting like this. So what does he do? He's 38. Not that old. A year older than me.
We can rattle through the rest of these fights.
One fight that I have to say really stood out to me because I wasn't expecting much, and it was then when I seen he's fighting out of TriStar, I was like, oh, this could be interesting. Was Diakaze against Haqparast. Super fight.
Yeah, great fight.
Haqparast won this fight at like his footwork and movement, cutting off the cage of Diakaze, keeping Diakaze. He was like a blanket on him, wasn't giving him space to allow it, and it was like these tactics are working brilliantly. Then he said, right, I've beat the brain off you in the first round doing it that way. I'm going to stand in the centre of the cage in the second round and do it this way, and then I'm going to do the same in the third round. Like, Mark Diakaze was marked up. I've never seen Mark get hit like that, get marked. The cuts, his nose was
completely hesitant, couldn't do a whole lot,
couldn't get off, and it looked like Diakaze looked incredibly confident coming in. They were talking about his boxing leading up to it, but man, Nasrat, I was hugely impressed with. And this is the guy that he got to 6-0 as a pro without fighting anyone with a winning record.
I suppose records are for DJs. No, he has a good record, but like the people who he fought weren't good, and we didn't count him out based on that. We were just making the point that he hasn't really fought anybody, so let's see what he can do.
But I really thought this was going to be a Diakaze on fire. Like, may have backed Mark to win by first round knockout. But
didn't we speak about it before the fight that Mark Diakaze, if he can't get his flashy stuff going, he seems to not be able to do a whole lot.
He didn't throw flashy stuff though.
And he was trying to do the basics, and it just seems like his basics just aren't there as solid as a lot of other fighters.
He landed some good body work.
No, he did.
A nice little hook to the liver, and then
it wasn't a terrible performance. But I just thought Nasrat put on a super performance.
Nasrat just walked through everything.
Yeah. He looks like Kelvin Gastelum, and he almost fought like Kelvin Gastelum against Uriah Hall, where Uriah Hall was that guy who could knock you out from anywhere. He threw these flashy techniques, and when Kelvin Gastelum got a hold of him, he couldn't do any of that. He went to the basics, and he was just out-basicked by the other guy, and I was very impressed.
I always know when there's a good tear-up, it's a good stand-up fight, because a mate of mine messaged me, and he does it on cue, and he's like, did you watch that round? I'm like, yeah. I said, I'm watching it on a stream, so if you're watching it on actual BT, you're probably about a minute ahead of me, so shut up.
Yeah.
But, great fight.
Yeah.
What stood out to you?
The fights that stood out to me, the Tybura fight and Struve stood out to me because it was a fairly poor fight. Struve, man, he's not great to watch.
Why would you have them tools and not use them?
We talk about it all the time. It's a bit silly. Danny Roberts versus David Zawada was a really good fight. Yeah. Check that out if you can. I'm not sure if you've seen that one, but tough fight for Roberts to take on short notice against a guy who was pretty well credentialed in KSW. And Zawada come in, and his grappling was excellent. His grappling was really, really good, and it was a close decision. The right guy probably got it, but I think Zawada will be back, and I think he has a future in the UFC.
What did we think of Hatzovagev against Nick Hen and Bruce Buffer and his little
wink? Yeah,
what did you think about that?
I liked it.
Did you like it?
Just because it was on the prelims. If it was like in the main event, you'd be like, Bruce, come on, don't give that away.
I'd imagine the commission didn't like it.
Probably, yeah.
Because the first people that are meant to
What are you told? What are you told?
You're not meant to... me, like, obviously I'm not...
Tell the mic.
All right. I keep forgetting I'm on this show. you're told not to. You know,
not to give any indication.
Yeah, it's because it's like a secret thing, and then what I love.
They're gonna find out in 2 seconds.
Yeah, I know, but the whole idea is that, you know, everybody finds out at the same time. The only people that know, like the only people that know the score are the judges and the MC. The referee doesn't even know the score.
Yeah.
Now I would
imagine if the referee forgot the names.
Well, that's what I would work with. I would work with some referees who I would tell.
Yeah.
Now some shows the scores are actually
you asshole.
But some scores are told to the referee. They're handed to the referee. I go to the referee, and the referee tells me the decision. But normally it's the chief judge would tell me the score. I get in. Now on our level, because I don't mean to be whatever, but on regional circuit, I tend to say split decision for your winner, fighting out of the blue corner or whatever. So that way the ref doesn't have to remember your name's Morphine, your name's O'Neill. Do you know what I mean? But I don't mind it, but I'd say the commission probably did mind it. I had another point to make about that. I can't remember. It's gone from my brain. It'll come back to me later on in the show. But I don't mind it. Bruce is the fucking man.
Yeah.
There's that's what it was. Reddit had a thing saying Bruce always gives it away. He stands directly behind the winner.
Oh, does he?
I'm very acutely aware of that as well, especially when it's a split decision. Like, let's say if I say judge number 1 scores at 29-28, Pellin.
Yeah.
Judge number 2 scores at 29-28, Dorman.
Yeah.
And judge number 3 scores at 29-28 for your winner by split decision, Brendan Dorman, whatever. And people would say, you call out the loser first.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
you try to mix it up?
I try and mix it up.
Do you not mix yourself up?
No. Because
absolute pro.
I write my card. My card is split with red corner, blue corner. So if they're round the score to you, I have it on your side, 29-28, 29-28, 29-28.
It's a good strategy. Some other fights in the card. Manny Bermudez got his 4th triangle in a row.
What did you think of the referee in that one?
I can't remember.
Because he got the triangle, it was finished, the fight was over, he stood up to celebrate. And as he stood up, wasn't his fault, he stood up, the opponent came up with him, and he was out cold, and the ref was like looking away, and he just went him and walloped his head off the canvas. Credit to Big Dirty Big Daddy Carl Doran, who actually shared that on Face of the Book.
Yeah.
And I seen, I was like, holy shit. Like, I mean, he lifted about, this is the mat, the table's the mat, he lifted about that high.
When I say I can't remember, didn't see it.
And then when boom, clattered the head.
I'll check that out. I tuned in from the...
But I wasn't the referee, I wasn't
the Nad Narimani fight. Nad Narimani made his UFC debut from Cage Warriors.
That's right.
Good performance. But
tough fight.
Not a great card, but no. Yeah. There's a better card coming up this weekend.
There is, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about UFC on Fox 30?
I do want to talk about that. We need to get somebody on the phone, though.
This is Dustin Poirier.
Dustin.
And Edward Alvarez.
Yeah.
2. First fight was an absolute barn burner.
Cracker.
So we thought, me and Rob, as good we are talking about fights, we thought we'd get somebody on a little bit better. We're not saying he's the best. We're just saying that there is nobody better, unfortunately. Includes me and Rob. But we're going to get the man on who's starting to do voiceovers due to public demand. With his squeaky voice and his he's very paranoid about his voice. But let's get him on. The man, the myth, the legend, the Dorman. So welcome back to, obviously, Fight Talk. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see. If you're on audio, we are joined, not by the best, but there's nobody better up. Brendan Dorman, back on OFT.
I agree.
Awesome.
Let's go.
The fights at the weekend, Brendan, we were not too plussed by, but UFC on Fox 30, Alvarez, Poirier 2. Both men have gone off and had a fight, a couple of fights in between. One has had a couple, one has had one. So Eddie Alvarez beat Justin Gaethje, and Dustin Poirier recently beat Justin Gaethje. So MMA maths and calculations and rematches and non-contests. Just how excited are we for this fight? Because there will be violence.
I think it's a great fight.
Yeah,
it needed to happen because remember. I forget. You know what? I don't remember it. I didn't have time today to rewatch it. Like I don't remember the exact sequence how it played out. Was it Dustin that need Eddie or Eddie that need Dustin?
It was
Eddie needs Dustin.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah.
But then Eddie didn't want the rematch, which was kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Right. I think at first anyway. So this has felt like a fight kind of overdue a tad.
Yeah.
Because it should have been kind of expedient, you know?
100%.
100%. Yeah.
So it's interesting. The last one, if it's anything like the last one started,
Yeah,
it
should be great.
should be fucking amazing. Those guys aren't, they're not timid. It won't be an Ngannou Derek Lewis affair, you know?
No,
I think it's a
technical
wonderful fight.
masterclass.
I see a finish.
Yeah.
I just don't see him pacing it out. I see a war right from the jump.
Yeah, it's definitely a fight that had to happen. Like, they were always ranked, one apart.
Yeah.
Like, wherever they were pretty much always ranked one apart. I think they're 3 and 4 now or something close to that. At least on Tapology they are. So UFC rankings, I'm not sure. Not that it really matters, but it was definitely a fight that had to happen. Not just because it makes sense for the division, but the first fight was so good and we didn't get a conclusive ending. We didn't get the ending that we should have got.
What I liked about the first fight was both of the fighters had amazing moments in the fight, and then there was a big momentum swing, and then we got robbed of it with the no contest. But like, when you look at, again, we can look at Justin Gaethje. They both coming off fighting Justin Gaethje, so let's look at that. Like, if you look at Eddie Alvarez, it was an absolute war, and he probably, he did. It was the first fighter to ever break Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje tries to break his opponent. But you could argue the fact that Alvarez was in a much more of a war against Gaethje than Poirier was.
Yeah.
Alvarez was badly hurt to the legs. He was badly injured by the time the fight. They reckon he wouldn't have came out for the next round and stuff like that. But Alvarez, that was back in December, so he's taken a long time off, 7 months. I'm delighted to see that as well. Poirier, big wins over Pettis and Gaethje as well. So Poirier, you got to say, is looking better and better at 55. Like, we're saying, we're expecting them fast here. Alvarez is more of a brawler, but he's a technical brawler, if that makes sense, while Poirier is more the crisp striker. Is that what we're looking to see? You always use the expression about fundamentals and straight shots, and Eddie tends to can win. Do you see a striking advantage here for Poirier, or is it are they on the same levels as one another?
Okay, yeah, I would say Dustin's definitely, you're absolutely right with like the straight line. Like, he's very, like, you watch him shadow box and his footwork's kind of, he's light on his feet, he's boxing savvy. Like, what an L step, I don't know if you know what an L step is, but since he's a southpaw, it's like when you step back and then here, so it makes an L. Like, he's constantly doing that. Conor kind of caught him on it because Conor switches up his footwork a lot. Eddie has great footwork too, but they're very different. His is like, if you wanted to watch what MMA footwork should look like, Eddie's is like precise. Dustin's is kind of more of a striking based, boxing based even, because it's not like Muay Thai or anything. He's not like, constantly lifting up his knee or anything to check kicks, but he's straighter with his shots, a little more crisp. But I don't know that he has the same arsenal that Eddie does. Eddie will bust out some crazy shit. So sometimes it looks ridiculous, like front flips at the end of the rounds, but Dustin's pretty, 1, 2, 3 leg kick. His attacks aren't. He doesn't get too crazy with spinning back fists and stuff. Yeah. So Eddie's a little more unpredictable. Maybe definitely more power, I would say too, because like the RDA fight probably is testament to that. Dustin's more of a crack, patient. He's gotten a little more patient with his finishes, and then he'll just, like the Gaethje fight, for instance, right? But he did better picking him apart than Eddie did. Eddie came this close to, losing his leg in that fight. You got to wonder with both of them, chin-wise, Dustin's has held up pretty much for the past X amount of fights.
Yeah, since moving up to lightweight, you probably think Michael Johnson is the only time that you question his chin. So would you put that down to weight cutting and, dehydrating the old nugget?
Maybe
head.
Maybe I just think I think that when you're not cutting weight, I definitely think that you're a more healthy guy. You can take a better shot, I'm sure.
I just have to put disclaimer. I am jokingly calling him P head.
I know.
Disclaimer.
Don't worry, he might unblock you at some point. I thought your point was block them.
He's blocked me on Twitter.
Oh,
Dustin Poirier.
Because you call him a P head?
I quoted Conor McGregor. I had Conor McGregor and then the quote, and I got blocked.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'll no comment that.
Yeah, let's move on. I thought your point was really good about the difference between both guys. I think Poirier, if you watch that first fight, I rewatched it last night. If you watch that first fight, for the first 2 rounds, up until the flurry when Poirier actually hurt him, Poirier looked like the way better striker, like the much better striker. He came out and against a orthodox fighter, Poirier comes out as a southpaw and he threw that left kick to the body. and obviously the left hand, which Poirier is great with. And he almost looked like when McGregor picked Alvarez apart. Remember when that happened? It almost looked similar enough to that with the left hand, but he was setting up with the jab.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Everything's accurate.
Exactly.
It's like, don't throw 100%. Throw things at like 60. Until you connect everything at 60.
Yeah.
We'll use a number because you don't know exactly what your number is. But, you know, he doesn't go in and he's not that kind of guy. He's very, you know, slick.
Yeah.
And I think he's younger than most think because he's kind of a veteran now.
Yeah,
but
he's been around.
I believe he's in his late 20s, but like 28, maybe.
Yeah.
Poirier.
You can fact check.
29.
Yeah, maybe
29.
a little older.
29.
Yeah, there you go. So sub 30. So he's not technically in his prime yet. Not really. You know, he's got another like 3 years in that realm, maybe more. You know, maybe 4.
I think you could argue with Dustin Poirier as well, though. Like each fight, and again, it's a lot of MMA fans when they see a highlight enough or they think about it, it tends to last longer in their minds, you know. So the Michael Johnson highlight obviously is there, and the Conor McGregor highlight knocking him out, and that seems to, every time people think of Dustin Poirier, they think it's that guy.
Yeah.
But he has evolved so much as a fighter. Like when you look at his last 3 wins, it's Jim Miller, Anthony Pettis,
Really
and Justin
good wins.
Gaethje.
Yeah.
They're really good wins.
Yeah, and like as I was getting on that point was that Poirier, when he's not in a brawl, I think he's way better. And I think the problem that he had in that fight was once he got dragged into that brawl, once he hurt Eddie Alvarez, he started opening up the way he used to open up all the time with his hands down. And Alvarez must be probably the best fighter when hurt that I've seen in the UFC.
Gaethje, maybe.
I think Alvarez and him are similar. I know what you mean.
I think Alvarez is better just for the fact
I believe
that
I said that in the breakdown of Justin Gaethje, Eddie Alvarez.
You did, and it came to truth. But I just think that I feel like he throws the better shots while hurt. You know, throws the way better shots while hurt, the more accurate shots. Like that shot that he caught Poirier with, that little hook that hurt him. Like Poirier wasn't even hurt, and he was throwing all these wild punches while Alvarez just covered up and landed a nice shot that hurt him. So I think that once it gets to that brawl, I think I favour Alvarez. Whereas if Poirier can keep it a bit more technical on the outside, I definitely favour Poirier a lot more.
He's long. I mean, he's longer.
Yeah.
It looks it anyway. I don't know what the numbers are.
I think it's 69 inch reach for Alvarez and 73 for Poirier. 73 for Poirier.
70. Okay,
73.
So it's not that different, but 73. It looks it.
73.
So 73. Oh, that's long. Yeah. Okay. So for that weight class, it's relatively long. Yeah, it's definitely long. So if he can keep him at the end of his punches like he does when he's on and keep it accurate, what's interesting is one of Eddie's best punches back in the day used to be like in his wars with Chandler, for example. He throws this beautiful right fade left.
Yeah.
Under a counter, and he'll throw it sometimes against southpaws. I thought that would be like kind of one of the X Factor exchanges with Conor.
Yeah.
But he was throwing it just really sloppily. Like he had no escape route, you know?
Yeah.
He'd throw it and like fall forward. Obviously Conor's kind of snake charming added to that, right? So Conor made him look really bad. But he recovered really fast the first time he got clipped. It was like, holy shit, already? But then he looked fine, but he went back to doing the same shit that Conor already had.
There was a similar moment in the Poirier fight. There was a very, very similar moment in that Poirier fight where Poirier kept landing to the body with the kick, and he kept landing his jab, and then he kept landing that left hand. And then once Alvarez got a little bit frustrated, he tried to throw that exact same punch, and Poirier caught him, and that was the punch that actually hurt Alvarez the first time.
The right escape left.
Yeah. Almost that rush.
It's beautiful
punch.
if he does it right, but if he doesn't against like a southpaw that knows, because Dustin's got a great check hook. One of the better ones in the business.
Yeah, he was landing
Nate
that too.
Diaz is another one. Like they throw that pivot hook, and if you throw that correctly against that punch, or there's a fading hook where if you're southpaw, you would fade through the punch to create angle. You know, it's like you move with the momentum of the punch, and if you do that into your straight too, that's your best weapon against an orthodox fighter if you're open stanced. You know.
Yeah.
I know I'm getting a little technical here, but I'm just saying like the X factor might be the straight twos from both. You know, it's been in the past for both.
What do we think of the wrestling game here? Because I know, like, Alvarez, legit credentials as well, but remember against Joe Duffy, Poirier really utilised his ground game, and that was one of the most impressive fights Poirier against Joseph Duffy.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to touch it. I really don't. No. I don't think it's going to go near the wrestling at all.
No.
I don't know why. I just don't.
I think wasn't Duffy a really good what, boxer or something?
Yeah, boxer, yeah.
Boxer, yeah.
He's got, because he looked like he had pretty good striking. He didn't have the best defense, but he had really good offense. Like great hands.
Yeah, he left MMA. He started.
So maybe with that, he wanted to nullify him a tad.
Yeah. He started in MMA, Duffy, and then he moved and he went to professional boxing for like what 6-7 fights.
Yeah.
Had 6-7 fights in pro boxing, then he moved back to MMA. So he had really good hands.
He's got great hands. So in that case, Dustin was smart to grapple with him because I think he's a traditional jiu-jitsu, Japanese jiu-jitsu black belt.
Yeah.
So the grappling's a little different because I hate to say victim of that art too, but it's not the same as Brazilian jiu-jitsu because you're not rolling, you're not sparring enough.
Yeah.
So it's not the same as being a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It's not even comparable.
Yeah.
I
think, to be honest, if Poirier, and his last fight I thought was really good because when he hurt Gaethje, although he did open up a little bit, and I think Gaethje doesn't really throw the smartest shots when he's hurt. I think Alvarez is better in that way. I think if he fights like that, and he fights like the first 2 rounds, or the first round and a half that he did against Alvarez, I think he beats Alvarez. Not easily, but I think it's a handy looking fight for him. I really do. I think that first round, I didn't think Alvarez had anything for Poirier in that first round. Anything.
So you were sneaky. You rewatched it last night, so it's fresh in your mind.
Yeah. I rewatched, and just looking at what he was landing, and pretty much exactly what you were talking about. He was landing that check hook at will. He was landing his left straight that Conor was landing on him at will. He was landing his jab at will. The only thing I will say is in the Poirier and Gaethje fight, and happened in the Alvarez fight as well, but Gaethje was landing some lovely inside leg kicks on Poirier, and he hurt his leg as well. He obviously hurt Alvarez's leg a lot more.
He's hurt everyone he's ever fought with those.
Yeah, I suppose. But I think Alvarez would be smart to go for that because Alvarez couldn't land anything at range. So I think if he goes to the leg...
Alvarez was doing that, or Gaethje?
No, Gaethje was hurting Poirier with the inside leg kick in their fight. Yeah, so I think it'd be smart for Alvarez to go to that because Alvarez didn't really have a whole lot of range for Poirier when they fought. But yeah, I'm picking Poirier. I think Poirier finishes him.
Hey Rob, let me just go nerd one more time on you, just because this is valuable information for people that listen that want it.
Yeah.
So that leg kick, if you're in open stance, if it's your right leg, like Gaethje's is always his right leg for an inside on a southpaw, right? You don't hitch as much as normal, right? Because you're kind of cut kicking, like where you're coming up at an angle to it. Right, rather than hitch down, like axe to tree motion, which is how you throw against a leg stance. With that said, he does it from the clinch often, so he'll get close, like Ernesto Hu style, and kind of backstep and slap it. So in other words, there's not a lot of space to make the read as the opponent because you're worried about the uppercut. So you're trying to you're blocking your own line of vision down automatically because it's from the clinch, and that's hence why it's so effective for Gaethje, and he lands it so often. It's not just the actual technique; it's the road there. The setup. That word's a little overused, but with that said, this is a different thing. Eddie's low kicks aren't all that powerful, and he's got to get inside to do that. And if you throw a right leg kick to a right leg from the open stance, and that's where that left straight is hiding. It's like you would key off his hip. He's not Israel Adesanya where he's going to hit feint and load a jab off of it. Like, neither of them are quite, well, they're not even close, but they're not at that level of striking. So I don't see it. I see it being a boxing match with some body kicks maybe, For you, I don't see anyone's leg getting like tore up.
Yeah. For you with that like open stance, obviously the jab will be very important for Poirier because of that huge reach, and he obviously had Alvarez had a problem with it in the first round. What would you say to Alvarez? How does he negate that then? And when he had
you're right straight, but not for once. Like you got to exit to the left, but you got to do it intelligently. He's got to learn to throw longer and pivot off of the retraction. So you throw it too, and as you pull it back, it's like you pivot with it. In other words, you throw straight, you cut, and then you're at a 45. Then you can maybe throw a second one, or you can jab off that and keep your distance reset. He's able to do that. He just has to do it. This is rule of thumb: is it's always hooks and crosses, right? If you're an orthodox fighter against a southpaw, you tend to throw like an arching 3 over the jab if you can. But Eddie's not long enough to pull that punch off. There's no way. Like you usually parry into an overhand 3-2, and your 2 is your best weapon. As a southpaw, it's usually your check hook and your straight to left. Those are taking kicks out. Those are your best weapons normally. So it could come down to those fundamental things. And it's not, I would think at this point, both of them, I know Mark Henry is with Eddie, so he certainly knows. I'm sure they're working on crazy shit. And Dustin's at a great camp too at ATT, so it's not like they're not getting the advice. You know?
Plus they saw it already. They had a fight. They saw what happened in the first one. So I'm sure Alvarez is looking at other things. But if you're looking back and watching that one, I just think Poirier, what he did in that first round, if he can replicate that and if Alvarez can change it, I think he wins the fight.
He looked like the better striker. Period. He was cleaner.
Yeah,
I think you're going to see Eddie Alvarez in the face of Dustin Poirier and have Dustin Poirier.
You'd hope so. You'd hope so.
He's not going to allow Poirier, if he keeps it in kickboxing range, I think everything that you guys have said is going to come to fruition. But I think you're going to see if an oncoming forward express in Eddie Alvarez. I think he's going to keep a high pace. I think he's going to change levels and try to take Poirier down in off the strikes, maybe even just to give him a different look. But I see Eddie Alvarez getting it because that fight, the momentum swung in that fight. Yeah. The first fight. When you were watching it, I was blown away by Dustin Poirier. I was like, holy shit, who was masked Dustin Poirier here? But I don't know. I think Eddie Alvarez has had a good layoff after Gaethje. His body will have recovered, while Poirier was only 3 months ago he fought Justin Gaethje. So I think Eddie Alvarez recovery time, I think he's going to be coming forward with momentum. Can Poirier fight off his back foot? Like what you were saying with the L step that you're saying, can he step and get out of there, create angles and get away? Right. Will he have to do that? If he does, that's where he could tire Alvarez out by using his momentum against him with counter strikes. But I just fancy Eddie Alvarez here. And
it could happen. I do think that he can fight off his back foot. I think we've seen enough of it in the first fight. I think that check hook he was landing just completely stopped Alvarez in his tracks. I think we're going to see something similar. But
I disagree. Eddie Alvarez,
unbelievable fight.
I'll make a quick one on this. Just on instinct, for whatever reason. It's not because technically, like, this is one of those brain versus gut instinct things. But I just have a feeling Eddie's gonna fight. He's gonna try to slow the fight down a tad and win via infighting.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just how I see it going.
It's an awesome fight.
We'll see. Nothing's gonna. It's one of those not much will surprise me fights. You know.
Co-main event sees two arcs, one going this way and one going that way. We've got the former king of the featherweight division and Jose Aldo taking on Jeremy Stephens.
Interesting fight.
Jose Aldo on the back of two heavy ground and pound defeats to the new champion in Max Holloway. Jeremy Stevenson, that's what I'm talking about. Arcs, it seems that Jose has gone down and Stevenson is climbing. Gilbert Melendez, Dong Ho Choi and Josh Emmett. That knockout of Josh Emmett.
Scary stuff.
Oh my God.
Fuck.
We were just talking about Hendo Bisping last week, you know?
Similar.
It's almost like that.
Yeah, it was just nasty. You don't want to show your parents that.
My question here is Jose Aldo done at that level, or is this a fight that Jose Aldo, it's a good fight where Stephens isn't the fastest in the world, where Jose Aldo's speed, movement, in and out style will win. The heavy leg kicks, will he have to go back to them? Why has he abandoned them so much? Can he
I've been asking that too long.
Will he chop the legs down on Jeremy Stephens, or is this just a case that Jeremy Stephens is the rising out of the two? He is the one that is on the rise, and can he get probably the biggest name of his career, a win over the biggest name in his career?
I think we lost Brendan. Hopefully he comes back.
No,
we got him.
He's coming back. Here. He's back.
He didn't even say
I got the trick, I think.
Yeah, unbelievable.
So go ahead, Brendan. I think you heard the question.
Want me to start it?
Yeah, please.
So this is the litmus test, I think, for Aldo finally.
Yeah.
Because Holloway's beaten everyone, right?
Yeah.
And even in the Conor fight, we've gone over this a million times.
Yeah.
It's super impressive. Obviously, he won. I'm not taking anything away. It's just we didn't get to see him move around much. So we didn't get a read on it.
We were robbed. We were robbed.
We're robbed of a good fight, yeah.
No one got robbed. I felt robbed of a fight.
That's what I mean.
That's what we mean, yeah. We were robbed of that fight in so many ways.
I felt that same way. The adrenaline dump was like scary.
Yeah.
Felt like I just fought. You know, it was odd. Anyway, so besides those, right? No one finished Aldo. No one really even put him on shaky legs.
Yeah.
But Stephens has the power to.
Oh yeah.
Now here's the thing. Conor beat everyone at 145.
Yeah.
You know.
Except Jeremy
and then it is what it is. And Aldo, up until Conor, had beaten everyone at 145, including the USADA era. Who knows whether or not where he was on that.
He was well on the
side of things, right? I know you ran from him once, allegedly. This is the test, man. Because this guy's not Max, right?
Yeah.
Jeremy Stephens is amazing. He's such a good fighter, and he's a fun guy to root for. He's just a savage motherfucker. Yeah. But it's going to be interesting to see where Jose Aldo's at. Is he going to gas after the first? He still looked really fast against Holloway.
Yeah, but I think that
first round in the first fight.
I think though, Brendan, that's because Max Holloway let him start that way. Max Holloway.
Me too.
Max Holloway almost starts like a Muay Thai fighter. Yeah. You know, round 1 and 2, where it's just, hey, this is fun, isn't it?
But I guess what Brendan means, he still looked like he had the speed. Like it still was there.
He looked fucking unbelievable.
He didn't look like he forgot how to move. Is my point.
Yeah.
You know, he threw a beautiful bolo punch that Max did not allow him to land.
Yeah, he let him land.
But he didn't follow it with a leg kick. You're fanboying.
He's just being an ass to be an ass.
Yeah, I mean.
No, I know he is.
Yeah.
But they're the same.
Yeah.
So if you throw that bolo punch and then he threw a hook afterwards, and then it was like, where's the Dutchie? Where the fuck is that beautiful leg kick?
Yeah.
You know, he hasn't done that since
weird.
like, I think Lamas was the last time he used his leg kick effectively. That was his weapon, man.
Yeah.
For most of his career, I think back to like Faber and the football underneath his skin of a hematoma that he gave him, you know? He hasn't, dude, I looked it up. He's had 2 finishes in the last 8 years, Aldo.
Yeah. Fuck. That's insane.
Do you think, though, he might have
injured in 8 years?
Do you think he broke his foot or something? With a bad kick or something?
I don't know.
They didn't really afraid to throw it.
I don't know. There didn't seem to be a moment when he fought somebody that they figured out how to deal with that, because it was just one of them lightning kicks that he set up his punches. There was no tell. It wasn't like somebody figured it out and he was like, oh, I need to change this. It was just kind of stopped. It was weird.
Yeah. He just stopped doing it.
Yeah.
Very it's bizarre to me. That and him not using his jiu-jitsu are the 2 most anomalous things about Aldo.
Yeah, it's weird.
And he bested Cobrinha. Like, that's one of the greatest jiu-jitsu practitioners pound for pound that's ever lived. Yeah. And he beat him in the gi as a black belt.
Yeah. Wow, people always talk about that. When Aldo was coming over to the UFC, they were like, oh, look at his striker. But look, you want to see his jiu-jitsu. It's unbelievable. But you never see it.
You never fucking see it.
Yeah.
The only time you kind of saw it for a second was against, a little bit against Hominick, and then also against the, is it Chang? Well, what's the guy's name? Damn it.
Chan Sung Jung? Korean Zombie?
He's Korean, I believe.
The Korean
guy that broke his arm.
The Korean Zombie, Chan Sung Jung?
Yeah. So remember after he broke his arm, he took him down and then just ripped through him like a knife through butter? You got to see a little bit of his grappling, but man, not much. He used it for takedown defense, but that's not the same. It's really not. But there haven't been these like Damian Maia moments or Ortega or Khabib or the other best grapplers, you know?
Yeah.
You don't see it at all. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's one of them fights though, isn't it? It's like if this happened a few years ago, you'd be saying Jose Aldo wins this hands down easily. Yeah. Even just based on style, I don't see anywhere really that Jeremy Stephens wins apart from he lands something. But now who knows, because Jose Aldo has just had 2 of the worst finishes of his career, as in on the worst end of finishes on his career. Like Max Holloway beat him up. He broke him. He did, broke him twice.
He's had his chin cracked 3 times now. Too bad.
Holy Jesus, yeah.
And after 3, it seems like for whatever reason, the 3rd one is like, I think about like throughout my lifetime, right? Chuck Liddell. I think of like Roy Jones, guys whose chins just went from granite to shit. It's usually like the after 3 rule. Shogun. So don't be surprised if something that doesn't look like a blast from, whatever, a cannon is what finishes Aldo.
That's
I wouldn't be surprised if Aldo wins either, but, you know.
Yeah. The one thing, I'll do a little bit of MMA maths, and not the exact usual way to do it, but like, Renato Moicano, who beat Jeremy Stephens a few fights ago, isn't a million miles away from the type of fighter that Jose Aldo is. And Jeremy Stephens had trouble with him.
Henan Barrow.
Henan Barrow a little bit, yeah. Not a million miles away from the type of fighter. It's somebody that Jeremy Stephens would have trouble with. So you could kind of say that, but obviously it doesn't work.
The thing I'd say with this is, I don't think Aldo, as you were alluding to, Brendan, with finishes, I don't think Aldo will finish Jeremy Stephens, but if Jeremy Stephens lands, he could turn the lights out on Jose Aldo.
That's the thing.
I think that's the difference.
He could land to a shelled Aldo and hurt him. Yeah. You know, he's got that kind of power. Yeah. But he really does.
Do you know what's really weird? Like, I remember watching, before McGregor, fought Jose, right? And when Conor was scheduled to match, maybe he was like, oh yeah, you know, he's all that hype that went on and all. You were there going, no, man, you have no idea how good Jose Aldo is. But now when you see Jose Aldo, you know when Bruce Buffer's introduced him and he stood there, he looks like a shell of his former self. He looks fragile. He looks fragile.
He does, yeah.
He
Even
does,
his body is...
Well, the Conor fight.
Yeah. He was fought.
Nervous. I was like, is he nervous?
He looked like he was...
The camera
he was done.
Panning,
it looked like he didn't sleep for...
up at the camera.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And
like, you know, he always puts his head down up until it's time to fight. Yeah. He like looked up at the camera, like through the like.
He looks like a broken man.
He looked like he didn't sleep for about 3 or 4 days before that fight. He just looked.
He fucking hated Conor with every muscle in his body, you know.
Yeah.
And then to lose like that.
Yeah.
I think he broke him, man.
He did break him, and that's my thing is that, you know, he does look at the shell of himself. But like as you said as well, Brandon, he did have a good showing. Like against Frankie Edgar, he looked great. He was doing well against Max Holloway.
Doing great. His performance against Frankie Edgar,
it's bizarre.
He looked unbelievable against Frankie Edgar. Yeah,
so it's a weird one. Like I can see Aldo. If Aldo wins this, he wins by decision. Jeremy Stephens though could absolutely take his head off though. That's the problem.
I don't know.
For me, this is actually a
what's your
flip
pick?
of a
What's
fight.
your pick?
If this was pre-Conor, it's Jose Aldo and he'll absolutely destroy him. Right now, I'm gonna go Jeremy Stephens. I just don't have confidence in picking Jose Aldo. But if Jose Aldo turns up,
it's tough.
75.
This is a wicked hard call.
Yeah, like, I think if
it
was Jose Aldo of 75% of like 5 years ago, Jose Aldo, he wins this fight.
I think so too.
But I don't think we even see 75%.
I think Jeremy Stephens has made a lot of improvements. His leg kicks have been looking really good. Can he land them against Jose Aldo? I don't know.
He's had a nice head kick too.
Yeah. Oh man, who wins?
Fucking flying knee against.
I don't know. I don't know who wins this fight.
I'll pick first. I'll pick in this one.
Go for it.
I'm gonna pick Stephens.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick Stephens because I think he's hungrier, and I don't think Aldo's looking down the road at anything that excites him anymore. He's talked about leaving like 48 times now.
Yeah.
Stephens is like finally coming out of his shell, and he's gotten better in the last year than he did in the 6 before that. Yeah. You know.
I agree.
I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna pick Stephens, and it's because I picked Shogun last week, and I feel like I'm gonna go with these.
That's the worst pick anyone's ever made in history.
We both picked Shogun.
But I
know why I goofed it.
Yeah. I just thought he was gonna catch him, but
me picking Shogun is like you picking Khabib in 10 years' time.
Oh, but Khabib has never lost.
But in 10 years' time. And he
if he was like shot born and all that,
and he hasn't fought Conor yet, got knocked out yet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick Jose Aldo because there's way too many questions about where he is right now. Way too many questions.
We've got another cracker of a fight.
Yeah, quickly.
It's a weird one. Yeah, we got Joanna, champion no longer. Joanna Jedrzejczyk takes on Tecia Torres.
There's another one.
Man,
we might get back together if she wins. So.
These two fights are very similar, aren't they?
Yes, in terms, because it's like what is Joanna's fragile mind like?
Yeah.
Is she writing?
And is it finally
Tecia Torres is a bitch on her bottle, her water bottle? You know, is she gonna blame a wake up?
No,
is she doing? You know,
I don't think so.
Yeah. This is a weird one, man.
This is a tough one as
well. I wanted to find out everything about her too.
Yeah.
I think Joanna's she looks very chill lately.
Yeah.
She looks like whatever was going on before, where she was trying to Conor it, if you will.
Yeah.
She went a little theatric with things, let's say, right? And
she was believing her own hype. Do you think she was just believing her own hype?
Maybe.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, but aren't they to us the same, in a way? Either way, it's a bad scenario.
Yeah.
You want someone. You don't have to be George, right? Because most people can't pull that off. You don't have to be Conor either. But some middle ground's cool. You know what I'm saying? You got to be confident. Not afraid, but to what extent? You know, if she goes in there, let's say she underestimates, she's done. Any of these girls now, because they've seen enough film on her that it's not gonna be a surprise. Maybe her grappling's gotten a little better. I think Rose is a bad stylistic matchup though, so I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a savage fucking Joanna come out and just start cutting her up with elbows against the fence. You know what I mean? Don't be surprised at all. I mean, it's a weird stylistic matchup to picture her overpowering her to the fence, but it is what it is.
Am I right in saying these are both out of ATT?
Oh, could be.
I don't know if Tecia's still there, but Joanna
I think Tecia has some kind of affiliate with them. I think she was at least training with them for a while.
There are like 3 of them in Florida, though,
Yeah,
so I don't
yeah.
know if they're at the same one.
Yeah.
Coconut Creek's the main one. That's the one I've been to.
Yeah.
But there's a Doral, and there's one more, too.
Just as I'm doing that, I'm clicking on the topology, and both of them have American Top Team,
Yeah.
Coconut Creek, Florida.
Yeah, so.
That's the main gym. That's where Poirier's out of. That's,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the main
I
one.
think
So
Tecia-
where Laborio was forever.
I'm pretty sure Tecia moved away. I think Tecia is training now with Raquel Pennington somewhere. I think they have their own kind of setup going on.
It
Interesting.
wouldn't
And
make, but they, you know what? If they train there together at any point, then they've sparred.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Always makes
saying
for
with-
interesting fights, usually, anyway.
That's what I was saying, that with Cowboy Cerrone's fighting, scheduled to fight Mike Perry, and Cowboy has gone off and does his stuff in his ranch, but now Mike Perry's training out of Jackson Wink, so
I
it's
know.
like getting a video game and somebody giving you all the cheats. This
Yeah.
is what you do to win, you know.
It feels like this to Cowboy.
It does, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
He won't care.
No, he won't care.
Um,
He'll have a Bud Light.
What's convinced me to pick? I'm gonna just pick Joanna in this one, but you know it's one of them weird ones. I think her performance the second time against Rose showed me that she wasn't done. It was a good performance. She did lose the fight. There was a few, I think, Polish people saying, "Oh, Joanna won that." She didn't win it,
No,
but
she didn't.
she did look good. She got
Lay off the vodka,
stop.
Poland.
She did look good. It wasn't like, Jose Aldo going in there against Max Holloway getting finished and then getting finished again and then possibly be done.
Yeah.
I think Joanna looked good enough in that fight to say she probably still beats most of the girls in that division. Tecia's on a good run, but I feel like Joanna...
Not for lost, Tish Torres.
Yeah, but I feel like Joanna, if she fights the way she used to fight, or even she fights like she fought in that fight, she probably wins the fight. I'll go with that.
I think the mystique of Joanna Jedrzejczyk is broken,
I agree.
but I'm picking her because I don't think
the
the mystique being broke for her is also good for her. Because like what we were saying, I think she thought she was invincible. I totally think she underestimated Rose Namajunas in the first fight.
Yeah.
That's why you're seeing a better shown in the second fight. I think we're going to see a hungry Joanna here. And you might see some beautiful clinch tie work and some nice little elbows by.
If she gets them like this, it's over.
Yeah.
Her tie clinch is as good as anyone's,
Yeah, it's
really, in
beautiful.
the
So
game.
I'm going to go with Joanna getting back in the win.
Carolina Valentina Shevchenko. A lot of women with really good clinches
Yeah.
in the game. I think Joanna's going to smoke her.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think we're going to see a return, man.
I think so too.
I
a little
think
bit.
people are remembering the second fight with Rose being way more dominant than it was.
Yeah.
It was a little closer than I think people tend to recall, because the first one's so fresh too.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
They almost
weren't that
blend.
far
They
apart.
blend into each other, don't they?
Into each other.
It's like,
Yeah,
she got
it's like
knocked.
they become this symbiotic fight, and,
Yeah.
and they're very different fights.
Yeah,
really.
exactly.
I think Rose stylistically is just a nightmare for her.
Yeah.
I mean, she could have won that fight too. She came pretty damn close. She was leg kicking the shit out of her.
Yeah.
Which is what she'll probably do coming up. Stay long, leg kick.
Yeah,
She does
imagine.
the Badr Hari, the jab, right leg kick, jab, right leg kick. You get too close, she'll try to tie clinch. If she can't, she'll underhook and try to get out of there. Usually, she, who knows now.
Time is of the essence, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a under the radar or a fight that jumps out to me that I'm interested in. What we might promise is, though, I don't know if you have chatted to one another, if you're on the show with Rob during the week, but if you have any further questions and the lads are on any of the fights that we haven't covered today, I'm sure the gentleman will answer. But one that stands out for me is Hakeem Dawodu. Could be saying it wrong.
Dawodu, yeah.
I'm interested in seeing him for the simple reason.
He's a big time prospect, right?
Yeah, he fought Danny Henry in his UFC debut, and the reason why I'm looking forward to it is he's actually training out of SPG here in Dublin as well. So
cool.
I'm hearing a lot of stories about him and just how much of an animal he is. So that's for that reason alone, I'm actually looking forward to seeing him showcasing it, because he got caught early by Danny Henry, former guest of the show.
Who was also a beast.
Who was also an absolute beast and got finished. So I'm looking forward to seeing Hakeem
James
get in
Dillon
there
prospect.
to see what he can do.
Yeah, my fight is definitely the fight on the main card. It's the Alex Hernandez against Olivier Aubin-Mercier. I think that's Brendan as well. Alex Hernandez, his
He
debut
looked fucking amazing.
his debut in the UFC couldn't have gone better against a better guy, really. Benil Dariush.
Short notice.
Yeah, and he moved around him like
Yeah.
I don't know, a wasp
Yeah.
stinging a spider or something. He was just
Yeah.
moving around way too fast for Dariush.
Yeah. He
And
took that fight on
finishing
super
strike
short
was
notice, didn't he?
brilliant.
Oh, it was phenomenal.
That's a great fight,
It was
man.
a fake jab, and then I think left hand. Is he a southpaw?
But he did like a shift. He shifted his feet along the way.
Yeah, it was
to
beautiful.
he covered the ground just wonderfully.
Yeah, that's I think that's an excellent fight.
And that's called like cadenced footwork, where you like go real fast with your feet and then slow it down and burst again. But it's your feet that are cadenced, not your hands actually.
Yeah.
It was brilliant, man. That's some high level shit.
But also, I thought Olivier Aubin-Mercier, his last fight against Evan Dunham, was the best we've ever seen him. And that's not me being...
And
no,
he was
Joe
rocking
Rogan does
an amazing tash.
He was rocking an amazing tash. And what's he, like the Canadian gangster or something? He's a funny guy. But
socks and sandals.
His movement, there was a lot of times where he reminded me of like Michael Chiesa, where like he strikes a little bit, but like he looks awkward and just throws these long strikes. But in that fight, I just thought his movement was really good. Yeah, pretty much. I thought his movement was really, really good. He looked slick and he landed a really nice knee to the stomach and dropped him. Really good fight.
He looks very strong, and I think he's like a grappler. Very good mixed martial artist. He can do everything pretty well.
Yeah.
Nothing spectacular.
Yeah. By the way, just a quick one. Alex Hernandez just when he came into the UFC, they probably fight completely different than I guess they do. But when he first came in, his debut reminded me a little bit of Gregor Gillespie. You know Gregor Gillespie, the Frankie Edgar kind of thing. Please do a breakdown on him, Brendan. Please. Request.
Yeah, I'll get a lot of views.
Yeah, please do it. I like that guy.
On who?
Gregor
Gillespie?
Yes.
That would get 6 views.
I want to see it though.
I love the guy.
Yeah.
But
I don't care about views. Do it for me. Just send it to me personally in my Dropbox or something.
I'll send you my PayPal.
I want you to do a breakdown on Brendan Schaub as
because no one ever requests breakdown. Jack, keep them coming, guys.
Yeah, Brendan Schaub.
Come on, Brendan.
Yeah.
The guy that won the chess competition, that breakdown. I'm doing one for him today. It's almost done. Almost.
Can you say who that is? Well, this is gonna be out tomorrow, so you can.
No, it's not someone famous. It's someone that commented in the section. They broke down my breakdown of the chess is jiu-jitsu.
All right.
Because I use so many chess terms because I play chess.
Yeah.
So that was the crossover, and I'm like, I had put in the video or in the comments, whoever breaks down how I use chess to, like, the terms to make sense to what's going on with the jiu-jitsu. There was an overlay, and someone broke it down wonderfully. It's a top comment on that video. Check it out.
Is this
They won. I asked them what they wanted. They wanted Buakaw. Somehow I've never broken down, and I'm going to do it voiceover.
Sorry, that's what I meant. I was wondering who you're breaking down. What was your breakdown? That's what I was wondering.
Buakaw,
Cool. Looking forward to
Buakaw Benchamek, formerly Porpamuk.
And if you haven't checked Brendan Dorman's channel out, do it now because it show's about to end with Brendan. So no better time than now. So just type in Brendan Dorman and you will see him. Hit subscribe. Of course, Rogan famous. And if you have an argument on Twitter, he will argue back. That's Brendan Dorman. Brendan, it's been an absolute pleasure as always chatting to you, my man. I watched actually the BJJ and MMA chess match with Ting. That was an amazing. You didn't really take into. Gunny's jiu-jitsu was incredible in that fight as well. Like his defense was phenomenal to do, and then Moya's adjustments, knowing what how Gunny it was chess. It was.
Would you have the
really best MMA jiu-jitsu fight?
That one was. What's up, bud?
The best MMA jiu-jitsu fight? Would you say?
Yeah, the best example is in the way that it's stalemated because it didn't have a finish. Yeah, there was a last-second finish maybe, but I can't think of a better one off the top of my head. It was so like watching two masters. You know what I mean? They cancel out a lot, but watching like the adjustments each made. Like the thing I pointed out about like the crossover pass from the rear leg that Gunny likes to do, kind of from one half guard to the other to like reverse case up. The second time Maya sits up with the momentum to block his hip, like. Dude, that is so... Just that. He's just blocking a fucking hip to the average person. Yeah. But to me, that's magic.
You're such a nerd.
That was you. You know the gif of the Family Guy where the dad's sitting in the computer and that was you exploding.
Is that not
the
South Park?
South Park. Yeah. The joke I was going to make there when I the timing was ruined, but when I went the best MMA and I went I was going to say Kimbo versus Dada. That was
I lost him.
That got all the shits. Yeah. He's probably going to come back on with explicit conversation. But if not, that was Brendan Dorman. I'm sure we can text him and say
that's a perfect time.
Thanks,
that's a perfect
Brendan.
place to end it.
But let's keep the momentum going and let's move it on and talk history. We look back as we do sometimes on the show when something of interest spikes us. So let's look at last week in MMA history. So this week in MMA history is technically last week in MMA history.
Just like last week was last week.
UFC Fight Night 46 went down in Dublin. This is the night that the notorious statement of "we're not here to take part, we're here to take over" took place. In cage, McGregor held that out to Dan Hardy, wasn't it?
No.
It was Dan Hardy.
Was it? Probably. I don't know.
Was?
Yeah, it was Dan Hardy, you're right.
So this was the night that Conor McGregor fought Diego Brandao. We were in attendance, Rob.
We were
at it, not together.
Didn't even know who you were. No, I did. I knew your voice from online YouTube videos of you calling.
It's because I'm famous. Conor was originally scheduled to fight Cole Miller.
Yes.
And the Cole Miller fight fell through.
Yes.
And Brandao
brandished himself
to have a fight. And at the time, everyone thought, oh, this is a barn burner of a fight, an absolute cracker of a fight. Conor McGregor was got running around with Joe.ie shorts, Death Throne Joe.ie shorts, weighed in the beautiful Ronaldo 7 underwear.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a huge night for Irish MMA because Gunnar Nelson was on the card. Gunnar won. Cathal Pendred was on the card. Cathal Pendred won. One of the craziest fucking comeback fights you'll ever see.
Yeah.
Cathal literally got his ass kicked for 8 minutes and 32 seconds, and then got the win by rear naked choke at 3:33 of the third round. Neil Searle fought that night and beat Phil Harris. Norman Park fought that night and beat Katani. And opening the card that night was Paddy Holohan, who got the win as well against Josh Sambo. It was a perfect night for Irish MMA.
Statement. Best night in Irish MMA history. Still hasn't been beaten.
No, it hasn't. Well,
hasn't.
No, not at the highest level.
Yeah.
It was an insane night.
Yeah.
Because the UFC hadn't been there since UFC 93, too.
Sounds right. It was Hendo and Franklin.
Yeah. Shogun beat Mark Coleman that
night. The Irish hand grenade Marcus Davis, former guest of the show.
He was there as well. But yeah, the night stood out. It was set up. It was at the time Paddy was 9-0 and he went to 10-0. Paddy was the first fight, and just the atmosphere and the UFC talk about the atmosphere of this event. Like, I was actually, because with Facebook, I was getting loads of memories popping up and stuff, and I filmed about 10 seconds of McGregor walkout, and my phone died. And I was like, fucking what a walkout it was.
Yeah.
I was
God
looking.
damn it, no one's ever going to see it now.
No, but wouldn't see it from my view, because I was, at the time, Lara Bourne and Chris Boyne, along with Tyrone Spong.
Just drop that name down there.
Cage side name. I won't drop any more names, but let's just say absolute legends of the UFC and MMA were in that short clip video.
Yeah,
but
it was unbelievable night. I just remember from the first fight, the Paddy Holohan walkout.
Yeah.
And the place was packed. I think it was full by the time Paddy Holohan was coming out.
What did Paddy walk out to? Did he walk out to?
He walked out like to the script or something.
Was it?
I think it might have been the script or something. Yeah,
I think it might be right. Yeah,
yeah. It was not a great walkout tune, but great walkout, and finished a good guy in Sampo.
Yeah.
And just made his name in the UFC straight away, and then of course the classic post-fight interview. Come on, lads, ready for a cup of tea, and his delivery was great on that.
And if you listen to obviously Fight Talk back in our early days when we were in Radio Made,
that was one of our
thing used to be what's the shipping off the Boston, and I go, Anderson Silva, you absolutely suck, and then I go, just time for a cup of tea.
Yeah, it was.
And then Ireland Baby, we did it. Yeah, that was our opening, but we had to get rid of it because copyright.
Yeah, we went onto YouTube, and they don't like that kind of stuff.
They don't like that. Yeah, Ian McCall, Brad Pickett, that was a great fight.
Yeah, that was a good fight.
Gunnar Nelson, Zach Cummins, and it looked like Gunnar was in trouble in that fight. Zach Cummins,
he had a slow start.
He was very slow start,
and then he landed a nice shot, got him on the ground.
Latifi had a insane knockout as well that night. It was just.
I think, to be honest, Neil Searle was one of the standouts in that card, just because of the reaction that he got. Everybody loves Neil Searle over here, and his performance. It was kind of like it was a long time coming for him. Yeah. And I remember Phil Harris was on his back. Of course, he didn't want to really strike with Neil. And Neil was just throwing kicks at his legs, and everyone was like,
it was class.
It was a great night for Irish MMA, and I was covering, like I was doing a little bit of writing back then, but I wasn't doing anything like this, so it was kind of like I was just a huge fan back then, really.
What I love about this night, the night itself was amazing, but I remember I went to the weigh-ins with my son the day before, and we met all like Dana White, and all I was saying to people, now when you meet Dana, say we've no tickets, couldn't get tickets, you know. Dana White might give us tickets, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had Liam was in like a little bad boy t-shirt and all this malark, you know, and we were in the Gibson Hotel, and we're sitting there just chatting away to people, and sure enough, out walks Dana White, and we're going, this is fucking great, I'm going to blag 2 tickets out of this with me young lads, you know. So that's grand. And just as I stood up to walk over to go, how are you, Dana, how are you getting on? Just as we done that, what kid gets up in front of us and starts talking to Dana?
Oh, SPG, little kid.
Nate the Great.
Nate the Great, yeah.
On the top. We're never going to top
Yeah.
that. We're never going to top that
Little
son.
bastard.
But I remember the day of the UFC, because I was going on Ireland. It was on early. I think the first fight was 5:30.
Yeah.
And it was like 4 o'clock, and I'm running around the house hoovering and all, just trying to do the brownie points for the missus, because I was going to sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
And then my phone rang, and it was Larborn. And he said, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm hoovering so I can watch the UFC." And he goes, "You dressed?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'll be at your door in 5 minutes to collect you. We're going to the UFC."
Unbelievable.
I was like, "Fuck right off." And there I was, sat. The cage was closed. I was fucking epic.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Great. It was a great event.
Great night. But
Like,
that night for me,
Yeah.
as much as all the other things, that Cathal Pendred, I was sitting in
King was on
his
King
family.
was on steroids as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. None of that Mexican something. King was on steroids.
He was. He got caught.
Yeah.
When-
but that
if you
comeback
watch
was-
it back though, if you watch it back, it wasn't the best night of fights. As in, if you watch that back
Yeah.
on Fight Pass now, you'd be like, "Ah, it wasn't that great," but you had to be there. It was one of them, wasn't it? Like you
And
had
I won,
to be there for
it
the
was
event.
mad because I won money on bets that night. I actually backed Norman Park to win via TKO. Second round knockout.
Very good.
I won, yeah.
What price is that?
I just, deadly.
Yeah.
It was a great night for Irish
Yeah.
MMA, and it's weird. If our American listeners are probably listening to this going, "Yeah, so what, lads? We're at a fight show."
Yeah, just
But,
had one fight show, yes,
but
dicks.
like, we have only had 3 UFCs. I'm right, only 3. It is only 3 still.
Yeah, yeah.
93,
Yeah.
that, and then the
Well,
Houlihan
Dublin,
Smoke
but you
one.
also had the Northern Ireland one.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
you know,
we're talking about Dublin, us,
Yeah.
down here.
down the south.
Yeah, so we've only had 3 UFCs, so,
Yeah.
Jeez,
Jeez, that's tragic, isn't it, for a country?
isn't it?
It's terrible.
But do you know what's happening is Connor's got so big that we can't have Conor McGregor fight
No,
here.
he's never going to fight
His
here ever
Vegas
again.
money or
Yeah.
the New York money.
Yep.
Disappointing.
Yeah.
But do you know what hasn't been disappointing? Obviously, Fight Talk 116.
Well done.
It's been an absolute joy and a treat to be with you here. I hope you aren't none too plussed by this episode. We tender to give you a good show, both wearing our hand-fitted clothes. But this has been 116. I've been Noel O'Keefe. He's been Robert Palin. Your man was Brendan Dorman. Fight Star Ireland, MMA Mix, and FeelSupreme.co.uk. Nearly got it, Rob, all in. Don't forget to check out Rob this Thursday night for live. Jump in on it. The lads, you're all chatting
Sounds
away.
like I'm like on live cams
Yeah.
or something, getting in the nip.
Bang babes.
And our female watchership, our female viewers still wouldn't go up.
Come here.
Fuck.
Who do you have on with you this week?
Probably Brendan. I'm not going to watch.
Yeah, I won't watch.
No. It's going to be great.
But yeah,
It's gonna
check
be
it out.
phenomenal. We have loads planned already.
If you've made it this far, congratulations. But like and subscribe so you don't miss that video with Rob. It's always good. He's tend to talk about everything and anything.
Yeah.
Literally, if you ask a question on chat, Rob will answer it.
Yeah.
Yep. And will it be in the bedroom or the sitting room this week?
I'm never in the sitting room. In either the kitchen or the
Yeah.
bedroom. Probably the bedroom.
Tune in. Thanks for listening today. And I'll see you next week because I'm not a loser who does a podcast in my bedroom.